Hey guys, this is Dr. LaHue again with you. I'm glad you clicked on this video, and today we're going to be talking about making our way around the Enneagram. A concept that I picked up on from some video I watched. I don't remember, it was pretty old and pretty dated, so I thought it might be good to just go through this information again. I don't know if there's anything to this, but I find the concept interesting. The idea is that when you go around that circle, of the Enneagram, and you start with the 9 and use that as your base number as the beginning point, you can go around the dial looking at all the numbers and seeing kind of like the energy of each type. And I don't have any idea if this was how, that was if the origin of the Enneagram. I kind of imagine that this is probably how it got started, is a bunch of guys sitting around in robes around a marble table talking about people, trying to observe people and understand people, sort of started to put things together, and they came up with this kind of approach. And let's just go around the dial and look at each type and talk about sort of the energy of each type. The first one, the 9, let's start there. The 9 is kind of like the what you might say the infant energy, and I don't mean that in a condescending way. It could also maybe be understood as kind of being the old man or the old lady, the energy of the infant or the energy of the senior citizen. The idea is this energy of the 9 is just wants to be at peace, and just wants to get along with others, and is at peace in its natural state. In his natural state, the 9 is at peace and is not worried, is not upset, and is like that sleeping baby. Okay, so the sloth, or the sleeping grandpa in the chair. Okay, and then you move to the number 1. You come down that dial, to that first energy, and it's the energy of the father or of the dad. Not meaning that the ones are all males, because they're certainly not. But it's that energy of the dad who says, get your schoolwork done first, and then you can play outside. Eat your vegetables first, and then you can have dessert. Get your room cleaned up, and then you can play video games. It's that kind of get your priorities right. It's that voice of the father, or the voice of what you kind of imagine the father to be, that do your responsibilities first, and then there's room for play. And there's nothing that frustrates ones more than when people are, doing foolishness when they need to be getting their work done. Ones think in terms of what projects need to get done, what work needs to get done. You can't rest until you get your work done. So that one energy is the energy of the father saying, get your stuff done, then you can relax. The second energy, the 2, I mean second in, it's the third one we've talked about, but the second energy of the 2, the helper, is that energy of the mom or the caregiver, the nurturer. It's that energy of, come here, honey, I'll take care of you. What do you need? Let me get that for you. And it's that nurturing, warm, gentle energy of the mother figure or the caregiver, the nurturer, who comes alongside of the more harsh, more stern 1. So again, I don't know that this is how the origin of the Enneagram came about, but I kind of have and it's a fantasy in my head that it makes sense that these guys were sitting around a table and they were like, first person in the family is the father, the second is the mother, and then the third, and they just kind of went around this and sort of like observed, in the ancient world, they observed the people around them. So the third energy is kind of the energy of the oldest child, or the firstborn child. Not every firstborn child is going to be an achiever, and certainly not going to be a 3, but it's kind of that energy of the child that says, hey, look at me. I'm riding a bicycle. Everybody should stop and they should notice what I'm doing. What I'm doing is important. Look at me. Watch me. It's that energy of the child up on the diving board, looking down, nervous and scared, but then calling out for mom and dad. Look at me. Look at me. Look at what I'm doing. Pay attention to me. 3s are assertive, so they're asserting, others' attention at themselves. And so they're achieving at school, and they're bringing home the certificate that says they're on the honor roll. They're bringing home the certificate that says that they have accomplished something, and they're saying, look at me, look at what I did, look at what I accomplished. So it's that energy of the oldest child, the achiever. 4 is the energy of that other child. You might say the second child, or sometimes thought of as like the middle child. It's that energy of that person, the individualist, who says, well, I can't do what big brother can do. Well, I can't do what older sister can do. Well, where do I fit in them? What am I good at? If I can't get the award, if every time I get in line, my older brother jumps in front of me and accomplishes it better than I can, then where do I fit in? If I'm not, the smartest one in the class, and I'm not the most athletic, and if I'm not the most, well, then where do I fit? And it's kind of that distressed energy of that other child who says, oh, I've got to find my niche. I've got to find my place where I belong. I got to find that place where I can find value. And so maybe they move toward the arts, or maybe they move toward the creative, or poetry, or writing, or any of those other areas that say, well, I don't really care about those awards and all that stuff. And 4s kind of have that tendency to sort of live above the rules, and to kind of sort of look down their nose on others and be like, well, oh, those vulgarians over there are so enamored with all those I want my life to be important and valuable. I want my life to count. And that's one of the things we admire about 4s is they may not be enamored by the same reward systems that everybody else is. They want to believe that their life has value and is of importance, that it's weighty, that it has some kind of intrinsic importance to it. So that 4 is kind of that energy of that other child that says, well, look at my big brother. I mean, they're a shining star. They're the athlete with all the awards and trophies. Well, I don't have any trophies, so I think I'll go do this other thing. And 4s are kind of like doing their own thing. All right, and they want the same love and appreciation as everybody else. It's just they may feel like those other forms are out of their grasp, or out of reach for them, or they're not of interest to them. Okay, so you notice this break when you look at the Enneagram symbol, this break between the 4 and the 5. And I've read lots of different reasons why that break is there. But in this kind of scenario, in thinking through this kind of scenario, think of the break as being a break between the nuclear family, which we've addressed, the infant, baby, the 9, the 1, the dad, the mom, the 2, the oldest child, the 3, the other child, the 4. And now think there's a break right here where we're breaking away from the nuclear family, and now we're going to start moving toward the peer group. Okay, so we're moving toward the peer group. So the child is growing up, and now they're in middle school or 7th grade, 8th grade, something like that. And they start to make that break away from mom and dad and brother and sister is the center of my life, to now, what are my friends up to? What is the world like out there? And so 5s are kind of that first energy away from the nuclear family, detaching emotionally and withdrawing away from the family, and not yet a part of the peer group, not yet willing to say, I want to be out there and I want to be a part of the peer group, but saying, what is the peer group doing? And so they're in the safety of their room, looking behind that two-way mirror, looking behind that glass, peeking over into the world around them, saying, what's going on out there? What is the world about, and what is the world up to? And so they're looking, observing, taking all the information in. But if you ask them, do you want to be up on the stage? No, I don't want to be up on the stage. Do you want to be a part of the group? No. They want to be in a withdrawn state. They want to be, detached from everybody, but they're interested and they're curious and they're investigating. Okay, so it's kind of that first move away from the nuclear family and into the larger peer group. Now 6s, the loyal skeptic, they are the peer group. Okay, somebody said, and I don't know, somewhere I read that the 6s move as a 6-pack. Okay, they come in groups, they move in groups. They're very concerned with what is everybody doing? What does everybody like? Well, that's what I like. What is everybody wearing? Well, that's what I wear. They're very concerned about the labels and the trends and all that because they want to fit in. They want to be a part of the group. They have that anxiety about life, and one of the ways you can deal with anxiety is to put yourself in with the herd, and then if the herd's okay, you're okay. So 6s are kind of like that energy of the peer group. They're going to travel in a pack, and they're very conscious of what everybody's doing and how everybody's relating to them, how everybody's treating them, whether everybody is trustworthy or not. And so the 6 is the move into the peer group. away from the detached position of the 5, and now one of the gang, one of the buddies. In fact, that's even the name of the 6 wing 7 is the buddy. Okay. So the 6 is going to be very concerned that they fit in, that they're identified and included, and they feel safe when they're included. So they're going to root for the home team. They're going to cheer for the right political candidate that's going to keep them safe. And they're very concerned with being safe and finding safety in numbers, okay? So they're the peer group. Now the 7, the enthusiast, what do? Well, they kind of look at the peer group and they say, that's lame. I don't want to be a part of the group. The group's boring. The group, everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's just fitting in. And so kind of like a 4 who wants to stand out and be different, the 7, it's not so much that they want their identity to stand out and be different, but they just kind of look at what everybody's doing and say, isn't there a better way to do this? Isn't there a more fun way? Isn't there a more exciting way? Isn't there a more engaging way? And so, their fear of missing out, the enthusiast, sort of departs away from the group, departs away from the norm, and says, I'm going to do my own thing. This looks more fun over here. Well, don't you know everybody's going to, the movies? I don't want to go to the movies. The movies look lame. And 7 is an assertive type, so they'll do what they want to do. They'll invite you, but if you don't want to go, maybe they don't care. They're going to do what they want to do, and what they want to do changes with every moment. And so the 7 looks at the peer group and says, yeah, it's fun to be a part of the group, but I'm going to do something more fun. I'm going to use my time in a better way. I'm going to keep my options open, and if the group gets boring or what the group is doing is boring, then I'll jet out of this and I'll go do whatever, my backup plan. 7s often have a backup plan or an escape hatch, an escape route, to get away from whatever might be tedious or whatever might be boring. They want to escape that, and so they kind of do their own thing. So the 7s will put on a goofy outfit, okay? Like let's say you go to Goodwill and they'll find, look, here's a blue blazer, a ruffle velvet coat, They'll put that on and they'll come out of the dressing room and be laughing and say, wait till my friends get a load of this. Wait till they see me in this. Because they're all about raising the energy and all about making people feel comfortable and having a good time. Where the 4, the individualist, might find something like that, put it on, look in the mirror, and then say, this is who I am now. This is the way I'm going to look now. I'm going to stand apart and be different now. And the 4, I think, is more like trying to understand and express their identity, where the 7 is like, this is going to get a laugh. This is going to raise the energy. This is going to be funny. It's going to make me stand out and be different because they don't necessarily want to be a part of the group. They don't find the safety in necessarily being a part of the group. And then the 8. Okay, so the 8 energy further departs from the peer group and is kind of the first adult energy that says, okay, I'm married now, I've got a child of my own, and I've got my own house, and I'm putting a fence around my house, and I'm not inviting you in. These are my people here. And so like an adult, they're protective of their time, their calendar, their people, the insiders. And then everybody else out there is kind of like a nameless, faceless robot. You all are strangers on the street. And it's fine that you walk past my yard. I'm not going to yell at you and I'm not going to holler at you unless you cross my gate and get in my yard. When you start stepping on my yard and you start letting your garbage blow into my yard, then 8s will wake up and they will say, hey, you stay on your side of the fence. I'll stay on my side of the fence. And so not like the dad, who's going to step into your room and tell you what you need to do and try to control you and try to, that one energy of trying to mandate what you ought to do. The 8s are more like, I'm going to do what I want to do and I don't want you telling me what to do. And so I always think of the 8s as kind of having that posture of like holding the baby in one arm because they have a big heart. They have that soft, compassionate, giant heart, but it's behind that fence. It's behind that layer of protection. And so they're kind of holding on to that baby like a protective father or a protective mother. And then they've got kind of that switchblade in the other hand, and they're like protective. And they're watching out, scanning the area to make sure that nobody can get in to harm them or harm the people that they love. So they're kind of like that first adult energy that says, this house is mine, this yard is mine, these people are mine, you guys are not, so you stay on the side of the fence. And if I over time feel like I can trust you, then maybe I'll let the moat down and let you in. But otherwise, you need to stay on the outside. And then you go back up to that 9 energy again. The grandpa energy that's kind of asleep in the chair and at peace with the world. And so really, I think this is a helpful way of like introducing the Enneagram to people, because it immediately gives you like a way to remember each number and how they relate, to kind of the patterns that are associated with those numbers. So I think that this, has helped me in my understanding. It's helped me explain when I sit down with people and they have no concept of the Enneagram. It helps me to sort of explain, okay, here's kind of a way of remembering what each number is about. And that alone, often when you sit down with somebody and go through the Enneagram this way with people, they'll immediately identify themselves. They'll say, oh yeah, I'm a 1. That's me. I have that kind of, dad voice, that kind of, and so this is a good way to help people sort of like understand, in a simple way, what the Enneagram is all about, and at least maybe to help take another step. And if they haven't identified their number yet, it's a helpful step in maybe beginning to identify their number, and then seeing maybe other people and helping to identify other people in their life, where they're at on the Enneagram as well. So I hope you liked this video. I hope it was encouraging to you. I hope it was helpful to you. Always like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to get a hold of me in some way, the information to do that is in the description. And I wish you guys a blessed day, and I want you to be present to life. Don't miss what's going on around you, because you're so focused on what isn't, or so focused on what could be, or so focused on what might be, that you miss what's right in front of you. Man, wake up to today. Wake up to the reality of today, and be compassionate with others, be compassionate with yourself, and like always, I wish you a great day.